Hello, everybody. This is 3SP. I'm coming to you with a thought. One thing I want to talk about is within the last 2 years, how deep politics has played into American culture. So, one thing that's really been on my mind, even since the so called November 4th Antifa uprising, and the way every tragedy in America has been politicized since the last presidential campaign, we are literally fighting over philosophies, basically left philosophies versus right philosophies. That's all politics mainly is right now, is philosophy. So you have people getting angry to the point of violence because of abstract ideas that literally in most cases don't even affect the normal American anymore, unless if it's dealing directly with taxes or maybe like taxes. Maybe the healthcare bill is affecting somebody as far as I don't even really think it does. I've stated before that last year I was on Obamacare. Me and my family, we were on the so called Obamacare coverage, and it did not cover anything. It didn't cover my emergency room visits. I couldn't see a doctor unless I had a certain amount of money, and that certain amount of money was about $300. So then it did cover certain prescriptions, which was 5% of the ibuprofen I needed for certain pains I had when I hurt myself. That's the only thing the Obamacare covered. So again, though, maybe those two things, the taxes and Obamacare. Other than that, they're political ideologies, which are just philosophies that in the long run don't really affect any of us. And if you really look at the policies from the left or the right, they're exactly the same. My plea today for America is don't let something as abstract as politics lead you to violence. We've been historically more center, say, since the end of World War II. Americans in general have been in the center, and they either leaned left or leaned right, but they made those leanings from the center. But now we're in a state where people are turning into political extremists, and this is becoming a scary time in the United States. Political extremism. It's it doesn't make sense, and this is even going toward the argument with capitalism versus communism versus socialism. And one thing that a lot of the people who are now communists like to talk about is how oppressed people are under the capitalist system and how many people died under capitalism. But the thing is, communism is one of the most oppressive systems in the world, and it kills dissidents. So again, these are just opposing philosophies that have the same conclusion: oppression and death. There's no way out of it. And the whole anger and physical violence that comes from politics and from political ideologies, from political philosophies, it does not make sense because the real thing is you're looking at is human nature. You cannot change human nature. You can try to be the best person you could be, but politics and laws will not change your human nature. So, again, my plea is stop fighting, stop being physically violent over political ideologies. If you could try to just be more in the center and seeing more than one view on everything that you do, you're in a better place to really judge where the world really is. I remember a couple years back, there were a lot of people posting these pictures saying left and right are both dirty wings of the same bird. And that's what we really need to recognize. And that even goes as far super left and super right, or the extremes. It's all a part of the same system. Even capitalism and communism, they both rely on each other to survive. So that's why we see that China, they're a communist country, and they have their certain type of order that they make most of their economy based off of selling goods to the West, which is capitalist. So you have communist countries making products for the capitalist countries, which bring in the revenue. So really, every ideology, when it comes down to it, they're manifestations of each other. But none of them work. None of them work perfectly. They're all doomed to fail, and they're all doomed for corruption, because you're always going to have an upper class that takes advantage and oppresses a lower class. And us as human beings, the best thing that we can do beyond any political leaning is to be human beings, to reach out to one another, to be the change and the thing that you're looking for. If you're a person that struggles with certain needs, then you need to be that person that is always available to help someone when they're in need. Capitalism and communism, which I don't, and I'll be honest, I don't agree with communism, but again, capitalism benefits from communism, and communism benefits from capitalism. So, what we need to do is interact as a human species, which we see networking in markets, networking in individual lives, networking and working together is what creates human civilization. Without human civilization, there's chaos and there's death. Kind of like what we've seen before human government, where basically people had to kill or be killed. That's what we don't want. That was the goal of society, is to bring an order where we're not fending for ourselves in the way where if we don't kill, then we're going to be killed. That is not what we want to go back to. And if you want to uproot a human society, that's what you're going to do, is bring back the non-system of kill or be killed. So that's where my thoughts are right now. It's nothing extremely complex that's been on my mind. It's just that no human system is perfect. But you don't want to uproot it. You don't want to tear it down. There will be way more suffering, way more oppression, and extreme amounts of death if you try to overthrow a system that is at least having the ends of giving power to the people. That's the end of democracy, is giving power to the people. That was also what Karl Marx was trying to say, where true communism is when the government can dissolve and the people govern themselves. Well, if you're talking about people governing themselves, you're talking about democracy. So why do you want to backpedal and destroy society to try to experiment again to see if you could create something new? So again, this is where I'm going to leave it. This is 3SP signing out.